is lower cost. Don't, when you have an idea, the first thing you do is say, I've got to go out and raise money. Because there's venture capitalists that are waiting going, okay, walk through the door. Walk through the door. Sit down, my man. Woman, sit down. And let me take advantage of you. I have a very dim view, as you can tell, of venture capitalists. I go to venture capitalists after I prove concept. I don't go to them because I've done that. I've gotten roughed up and got home and didn't even know I was cutting the meeting. All of a sudden I looked up and there was blood coming out. I thought that's impossible. How can that be? I thought these guys are my friends. I played golf with them, swam with their kids, No. Very cutthroat business. So I like venture capitalists, I just don't love them anymore. So in Pressey's case, when they came out, okay, the object is to make it create such a buzz that everyone was talking about it. This was the cool thing. It was all being done on the internet. Nikolai introduced me to this guy, the president, the CEO, and I'm there saying, well, now it's time to expand your market. He goes, why? I don't need to do that. I don't need to sell corporate accounts. I'll sell corporate accounts the same way I'm selling the internet. Great idea. Okay, here's something else to think about. When you design a company, it's very important to, I know this is hard because you're here, it's late night hours, you're drinking cold coffee, you're eating cold sandwiches. I mean, it's a terrible existence for all of us. It is. I mean, you know, this is really, this is, you know, all soldiers in here, okay? But the idea is that you have to think globally. You have to think outside of your area. You have to think outside of Mexico, outside of South America. You have to think, I'm designing a product for the world. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some interesting things in the Harvard Business Review that you all have to get a copy to. It's a very pricey, expensive magazine, but they talk about trends that you guys should be thinking about in healthcare, in automotive, engineering. Where's that going to go? Who's going to be leading the pack? It's not going to be the bigger companies. Why do the bigger companies like Google, Microsoft, and Oracle buy smaller companies? Innovation. They buy because of innovation. So if you can stand up and say, I'm a global company, I can eliminate the zeros in my balance sheet, I can operate with a very low overhead, I can be profitable, and my product can be one to many, you've got a great chance. You've got a great chance. So, I can't talk about this enough, about diverse global business partnerships that will shine and outperform those businesses that don't make these alliances. One of the first things that we do when somebody says, you know what, I think I've got this product, we talk to partners. We align you, whatever company, from whatever geography, with partners, and that's the validation point for us. You know, the validation point is if they say, yeah, I want to go to people that have customers, that are selling solutions to customers. I don't necessarily want to go to the customer first. I want to go to the partner who has to be in front of the customer, who wants something else in their toolkit that they can sell. So, will Twitter, I'm not sure about this, you guys might have an idea. Will Twitter replace the call me statement? Would Twitter me due to technology, convenience, and time constraints? Maybe. Something interesting is happening, and that is that now corporations are using Twitter. That was a scary thing for me to look at. I got to tell you, I got very frightened. I thought, you know, in a minute I liked it, and the other minute I said, oh boy, you know, where's this going to go? Because there's no foundationing around it. You know what I mean? I mean, there's no foundationing. This isn't Facebook, it's not LinkedIn. This is something that, you know, somebody's going to like, what? I mean, the CEO walks in the bathroom, he's, oh, you know, the CEO, I don't know. I mean, where does it end? So entrepreneurs and small businesses will learn, if they haven't already, that everything there is to know about how to take a business global. You need to know that. You need to understand that, because it starts here in Silicon Valley. Optimism will fuel global small businesses that have the guts to press on, even in the face of insurmountable obstacles. Some of the things that you're going to see about some companies that are doing triple-digit revenue in one of the toughest markets that we've seen since the Great Depression. Why? Because they're lowering overhead. They have disruptive technology. They've eliminated zeros from their balance sheet. They're partnering with companies. They've lowered their infrastructure. They don't have a high cost of sales. They're lean and mean. These are the companies to watch going forward. These are the companies that you really need to be a part of. So, and this is the other thing about green and global are a marriage made in heaven, because everyone wants to save the world. Now that sounds funny, but it's true. I mean, everyone wants to be able to do their part. This is why you go into a company, and now I don't even know where to throw my can, because there's so many cans. There's so many. This is aluminum, this is for paper, this is not for this kind of paper, it's for that paper. But it's a good idea though. I mean, I like it. But I mean, everybody wants to have a social conscience that way. Okay, here's some unemployment in Silicon Valley is now higher. I'll give you some of the bad news. Then after the dot-com bust, I know, but there's more money in the economy than then. I mean, I remember in Silicon Valley, I watched all these companies during the dot-com boost. I mean, there was so much money, literally. $1,000 bills were in the street. Any company, I mean, people were diving in it, you know? I mean, venture capitalists couldn't give their funds money away fast enough. They just couldn't do it. You walk in, you got a great idea. Doesn't matter what company you're with, how much do you want? Offices went up. I mean, it was amazing. But there was less money than there is now. So everybody has to take that into account in some way. Okay, so state unemployment level is now at about 9.8%. This is this state of California. And that's from a high of 13.4%. And San Jose, Silicon Valley remain California's, in spite of that, I think it's probably staying, that's a couple months old, but it's staying around that. It still remains the country's strongest technology epicenter, drawing the highest salaries in the world. What happens when somebody graduates from Stanford? Okay, they're in graduate school, okay? Well, the Google truck pulls up, Microsoft truck pulls up, Oracle truck pulls up, and guess who walks out with most of the prizes? Who? Who walks out with most of the prizes? Who walks out with most of the PhDs?
Google.
Google. Why? Google, and this is a little bit elitist for me, but Google hires degree people in computer science. Yahoo gets the ones that have the EE degree. And that was always curious to me. Does anybody really know why that is? Do you have a thought on that? Do you have a thought of why there's a difference between why Yahoo doesn't get to the ones with the computer science degrees before Yahoo does? I mean, before Google does? It's simple. I asked somebody in recruiting, and they said, we don't want people that are linear thinkers. And that's what we're going to get with the EE degrees. We want people that are thinking outside the box and are thinking in terms of a global type solution when they're addressing a problem. I mean, it seems simple, but I didn't quite, I mean, that wouldn't occur to you, right? You wouldn't have thought that. I mean, why are they getting some of the best people? I mean, in